All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
And we're setting up special shop on Saturday to talk about something very important. Andrew Yang is supporting Tulsi Gabbard amid some ridiculous smears that I'm sure everybody has heard about. Now, we've all already heard about what happened yesterday, where basically Hillary Clinton extended Russiagate 2.0 into including Tulsi Gabbard being groomed by Russian agents to be a Russian asset and so on and so forth. We all heard what Tulsi said about it on the debate stage, but the plot thickens and things continue as Andrew Yang opines and the ping pong gets put back in other people's courts. Cody, tell us what goes on.
Yes. Well, I guess so. Anyway,
tell us what goes on. Yes.
But just to recap, what actually are we talking about exactly? I believe it was a couple of days ago now, former Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton said Thursday the Russians are currently grooming a Democrat running in the presidential primary to run as a third-party candidate and champion their interests. The comment appears to be directed at Hawaii Rep. Tulsi Gabbard, who's been accused of being cozy with Russians in the past. This is what I think is crazy, is this direct quote from Hillary Clinton. I'm not making any predictions, but I'm going to make a prediction. But I think they've got their eyes on somebody who is currently in the Democratic primary and are grooming her to be the third-party candidate. She's the favorite of the Russians, and she goes on to say they had bots. Anyway, old news happened a couple days ago, but if you haven't heard, that is what happened. So anyway, after this, a lot of people obviously jumped in and had some comments on this since Hillary Clinton just seemingly out of nowhere accused a Democrat running for president as working with the Russians. Now, one of the big comments that was addressed by Tulsi Gabbard, and what she actually, I think, leaves it out of her Twitter thread. We'll get to in a minute. But later on, and that same day, she did an interview with ABC News. In the video with ABC News, here we go. Here's the direct quote from Tulsi Gabbard, by the way, to kind of nip a little bit of this in the bud, where she says, "I've been very clear. I will not be leaving the Democratic Party. I will not be running as an independent or a third-party candidate. I am running as a Democrat to take our party back away from the control of people like Hillary Clinton and the warmongering and corrupt, powerful establishment and return our party into the hands of the people." So,
rock on, hardcore.
A lot of comments came out about this. That's not even the great. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard had a great line, but again, this video, not getting into that. I gotta mention it though. I love this line from Tulsi.
Oh
great.
Yeah, you can't skip over
Thank you,
this.
Hillary Clinton. You, the queen of warmongers, embodiment of corruption, and personification of the rot that has sickened the Democratic Party for so long, have finally come out from behind the curtain. Again, what does that mean exactly? So before we get too far, they want to talk about this as one big part of the story. So Andrew Yang on Twitter, as he very frequently does, a lot of candidates should do this more if they aren't, he jumps into a big national story with 2 sentences. But he says, Tulsi Gabbard deserves much more respect and thanks than this. She literally just got back from serving our country abroad. Both of those, I guess one of those is a fact. The first is an opinion, but I agree. I think she deserves more respect and thanks than being accused of being groomed by Russians. Like, is that such a high level of respect, by the way? Just don't accuse somebody running for president of being a Russian asset. Anyway, this was interesting.
It just makes me think that people don't even understand what Russian asset really means and how destructive it is. It's like everything gets called racist now, so much so that, I don't think people understand the gravity of what happened to Emmett Till. Everything gets called sexist so much nowadays that I don't think everything gets called like Russia. You get called a Russian asset left and right now.
But wait a second. That's a little bit 0 to 10,000. It's not exactly, it's bad what Hillary did, but I don't think anyone's dying. No one's going to murder Tulsi Gabbard because of what Hillary Clinton did is what I'm saying. Anyway, this is another part of the story. I'm trying to get to,
okay,
I'm just trying to get through it. Then we can talk about it.
You win. Go.
I'm just trying to
talk
about what we want to talk about.
You want to talk, so talk.
We agreed to talk about this.
Okay.
Anyway, a big thing that I realized going through the thread when Andrew Yang did come out to defend Tulsi Gabbard, you see a lot of this. A lot of verified Twitter accounts. By the way, Scott Nevins, not super familiar with this person. TV host and political entertainment news contributor, jokester. I don't know. But by Andrew in response to Andrew Yang supporting Tulsi Gabbard. There's a few more. And again, I'm not going to say these people are like big time important thinkers, but I'm just going to say.
Are these Yang gangers or are these just blue checkmark idiots?
People commenting on the thread. But here we go. No, she's a crank and a gaslighter and generally awful. That's by Josh Marshall, editor and publisher of TPM. A award or something like won the Polk Award. Greg O'Lear, if you're going to keep track of these threats to our country, please drop out. If you're not going to keep out, please drop out. Call from Greg O'Lear. He drops his link to his own thread, a little bit of self-promotion about how Tulsi was in some cult That's something respectfully, no, this isn't about serving abroad. This is about her history since then. I believe her history since serving abroad is the last week and a half or so. Maybe she's done a lot of bad stuff in the last week and a half.
Yeah, it must be a busy week for Tulsi.
Another verified, Greg Pinello. Andrew, you'll be clowning yourself. You have an interesting future in politics if you stop chasing hot takes and manufacturing clickbait. Hold on a second. Hillary Clinton declaring that Tulsi Gabbard is a Russian asset with zero evidence, not a hot take. Andrew Yang saying, hey, saying that someone running for president's a Russian asset with zero evidence, who's literally a veteran, maybe deserves respect. That's a hot take. Sorry, one more line though. He said, defending Tulsi, misspelled, or maybe that's a little slow dig. Tulsi, like more Russian, I don't know what that means, is not a hill worth dying on. This tweet will embarrass you when she campaigns against our nominee next year. Before you talk though, I want to... hold on. That's the important... And this guy, Democratic strategist, Obama ad maker. So again, this guy actually does have some level of influence in the Democratic Party. What does that line mean at the bottom here, though? This tweet will embarrass you when she campaigns against our nominee next year. A lot of people are familiar with Tulsi Gabbard for being in the military. A lot of people are familiar with Tulsi Gabbard for running for president. A lot of people know she's a congresswoman from Hawaii. But not a lot of people remember in the age of modern politics, way back in the distant past.
Look at Mara McEwen above. You will regret this tweet, Andrew, or maybe you're in on it too. Like, what? What?
But the reason why I wanted to bring up what Greg Pinello said, this tweet will embarrass you when she campaigns against her. What does that mean? To be frank, 100% honest, I forgot this. It's something when I read it, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. This is from, again, the way distant past of just after Donald Trump. Oh no, this is before Donald Trump was ever sworn in, correct?
Yeah.
Before Donald Trump was ever sworn into office, so basically a lifetime ago, the vice chair of the DNC resigned to support Bernie Sanders.
I remember that.
Vice chair of the DNC, by the way, I think she looks better in red than blue, Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, it was a controversy because you couldn't endorse Bernie Sanders as a DNC, appointee. You have to go with the incumbent. You're allowed to have a personal opinion. You don't have to vote for them, but you can't formally nominate anything other than your party nominee. So she actually stepped down from a very influential position of power.
She was 34 years old and was not only was one of the youngest members of Congress, she was the vice chair of the DNC. Yes, and she resigned from that position. It was
an impressive move of fidelity. I mean, regardless of whether or not you agree with her politics, stepping down from a position of that much power in order to really just exercise your own free thought, I have respect for that.
Well, she did more than that. Here's a direct quote from Tulsi Gabbard from 2016. As a veteran and as a soldier, I've seen firsthand the true cost of war. I think it's most important for us as we look to our choices. We look at our choices as to who our commander-in-chief will be, to recognize the necessity to have a commander-in-chief who has foresight and exercises good judgment. That was in reference to Bernie Sanders running against Hillary Clinton and her support of Bernie Sanders. So the Hillary Clinton-Tulsi Gabbard beef goes back a long way. And then Tulsi Gabbard, I mean, again, this is an NPR article, so they actually do a pretty general way of phrasing it where it's not too... It's actually kind of funny reading an article from before Trump that's not super crazy loaded.
They neuter their left-leaning bias with euphemism.
No, there literally isn't that much bias to it. Gabbard is... When was the last time you heard Gabbard described as the first Hindu elected to Capitol Hill? No, seriously, when was the last time you heard that as a description for Tulsi Gabbard? That's gone now.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. People I don't think she was the first Hindu. Wasn't...
So is it incorrect?
Yeah, because Nikki Haley's half Indian?
Was she elected to Capitol Hill? I'm not going to get lost in that. My point is, though, is that... Yeah. Tulsi Gabbard in 2016.
Oh, she might have been a governor. Oh, I don't remember what she was.
In 2016, Tulsi Gabbard stepped down as vice chair to oppose Hillary Clinton. Then, again, why would Hillary Clinton just say these things about Tulsi Gabbard seemingly out of nowhere? Here's an article from the Washington Times. Tulsi Gabbard calls for complete overhaul of DNC. 2017, November. Rep. Tulsi Gabbard said the revelations that the Democratic National Committee rigged the 2016 election for Hillary Clinton underscores the need for an overhaul of campaign finance laws and a complete overhaul of the national party. Mrs. Gabbard, Hawaii Democrat, resigned as vice chair of the DNC, as we stated before, to endorse Bernie Sanders, who ran against Hillary Clinton. The DNC secretly chose their nominee over a year before the primary elections even occurred, basically asserts Tulsi. We got all of the links here for you guys so you can read through it. But the reason I wanted to kind of highlight that, bring it up, a lot of people have been wondering, especially with this Hillary thing, why do people hate Tulsi Gabbard so much? Like I said, I was just going through a Twitter thread. Yang's, not even a Twitter thread, Yang all just saying, I think Tulsi deserves more respect than baseless accusations of being a spy.
Yeah.
And we get former Democratic strategists, people who worked for the Obama campaign, saying this. Why are they so mad at Tulsi Gabbard? Because she will campaign against our nominee next year because she did it to ours, even though we were supposed to rig the election against Bernie, and she called us out on it. That is what you're seeing from the establishment. And you know who doesn't? By the way, I'm going to kind of get Van Jones a little bit on this one, but Van Jones, there's a quote from Van Jones. If you're concerned about disinformation, that is what just happened. Just throw out some information, disinformation, smear somebody. She's Hillary Clinton. She's a legend. She's going to be in history books. She's a former nominee of our party, and she just came out against a sitting U.S. Congresswoman, a decorated war veteran, and someone who's running for the nomination of our party with a complete smear and no facts. He continues, I do not want someone of her stature to legitimate these attacks against anybody. If you've got real evidence, come forward with it. But if you're going to just smear people casually on podcasts, you're playing into the Russians' hands. Now, again, the Russia talk, and again, the reason I want to get at Van Jones a little bit, I like Van Jones. I didn't know CNN had a party. What's our party for a journalist? You know what I mean? Like our party. Like, I thought you were a journalist, man. I mean our party. But
he got caught. Did he accidentally tell the truth?
No, I mean since 16, that is the way it works. And people just say about that. I guarantee people in Fox say us. They you know what's funny?
Yeah, but at least at Fox they don't lie to you and say it's news. They say it's opinion.
Yeah, sort of. Not really. Everyone does it. No one's clean in this, right?
Yeah, CNN's a lot dirtier.
Hey,
than
how about
Fox News.
yeah? What did Jesus say about that?
Which time?
Was Jesus said, yet he was without sin? Wasn't that him?
Yeah, he was without sin, cast his first stone. He also said, actually, I could go on in a couple of analogies.
Anyway, sorry, before you get back, I going through the Andrew Yang tweet and seeing these responses are like I said, this one stuck out to most of me. And again, this Greg Pinello guy isn't dude who works at BuzzFeed. He's, considers himself a former Democratic strategist and Obama ad maker. Again, it's been a while since Bob was in office. Maybe it's not good, but this is the reaction we've seen to people pushing back against Andrew Yang. Kind of weirded me out, and then I just kind of did a refresher course. I'm like, oh yeah, Tulsi for years has been saying Hillary's a corrupt warmonger and I hate her. Tulsi's been saying that for years, and then Tulsi, because again, while Hillary Clinton, to be fair, never actually said that Tulsi Gabbard's the person she was talking about, when the media cycle exploded, she never corrected it and said, well, I didn't mean Tulsi. She's just like, yeah, I meant Tulsi. So, that I just want to point out, that's the pushback we've seen against Andrew Yang. That's where it comes from. It comes from Hillary, and Hillary people don't like Tulsi because they've been beefing for years, is the best way of putting it.
The only thing I can say to our audience, and the only thing that comes to my mind, is I just think there's part of me that so much wants to be ecumenical, which means I want the left and the right to come together. We called this show Problem Solver Politics because we didn't want to belie any kind of bias. And we really believe, both me and Cody at our core, that through reason and discussion, like in the book of Isaiah, and just like Epictetus said, the Greek philosopher, come, let us reason together. We believe that through solid reason and conversation, that you can reach a common ground that benefits everybody because we're, quote, all in this together. Okay? We really do believe that. However, with that said, at the same time, there are times when hyper-partisan Rush Limbaugh says Democrats are an evil force that cannot be convinced or satisfied. They can only be stopped. Where I just think, that? Oh yeah,
that's crazy. What?
Yeah, I can't remember the exact quote. You'll have to look it up. And I've seen a couple memes of it. And if it's not him, he's taking credit for a great quote. But literally, I've seen that in multiple comments where people just say Democrats can never be satisfied. They can only be stopped. And I look at that and I think, look what they're doing to Tulsi. They already dragged Trump through the mud. Now, granted, Trump's a big boy. I think he can handle it. And I'm not here to say that Tulsi's a little girl that can't handle it, but I just want to know, when will it stop? When will just being able to say, oh, somebody's a Russian asset? They've said that's about Dave Rubin now. They've said this about Andrew Yang. They've said this about Donald Trump. They've said this about, let's just go down the list of 30 people. And it is destructive up until the point people realize it's a lie, at which point they don't go back to liking the person. They just kind of realize that, oh, it's the boy who cried wolf. And then they move on to another thing. And it's times like this where phrases like Democrats are an evil force that will never be satisfied and can only be stopped. I don't know. I believe it. And I think it helps polarize the country even more. And even a guy like me who tries his very, very, very best to be ecumenical and in the middle and everything like that, I see stuff like this happening to Tulsi Gabbard, and I'm like, I have no respect for these people. That's all I have to say.
But again, this isn't political. It's personal. Tulsi actually mentions that in her tweet.
Yeah, no, political or personal, I have no respect for these people.
Since I started running, someone's been working against me behind the scenes the whole time, and I'm glad you finally admitted it was you. Is basically what Tulsi said. And again,
whether it's personal or political, I have no personal respect for these people. I have no political respect for these people.
This has nothing to do with Democrats. This is the Hillary cronies. Or anyone,
the DNC is the Democrats. It's the entire leadership of the party. The people that are railroading Bernie Sanders. I disagreed with Bernie Sanders, but I hated what happened to him.
Bernie's back in the party though, and remember Tulsi at one point.
I'm not saying that he's not a whipped boy that has come back to.
Tulsi herself is a member, considers a member of the Democratic Party. Tulsi said, "I will not drop out. I will not run independent. I will not run third party. I'm a Democrat." So why? How can you hate on Democrats in a video when we're talking about how a Democrat's getting a raw deal?
Because I'll tell you right now, when I say that, how about this? I have no respect for any of them so far except for Tulsi. I don't have respect for Rahm Emanuel. Don't have respect for Barack Obama.
I'm not talking about these people. You're just bringing up random people you don't like in a discussion. There's nothing to do with them.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Not talking about her.
Okay, well, when we talk about the DNC, who are we talking about now? Tom Perez? If you want me to name individual people, I don't have respect for Tom Perez.
Okay, but I'm not. What I don't want to do is sit here and audit who you do and don't have respect for. That's what I don't want to do.
Okay, well, I'll just tell you right now. The DNC is crap. CNN is in with them. They're the propaganda arm.
Well,
those three letters you can omit from your life.
I literally just cited CNN's Van Jones going on and saying what Hillary said is dangerous and divisive, and it's ridiculous you'd say so. I agree 1,000% with what Van Jones said.
Oh, I'm not saying,
CNN.
Look, the cream of the crop rises to the top, but so does the scum. And right now, at the DNC and CNN, it's 90% scum, 10% cream.
I think there's more interesting stuff going on to discuss and talk about in the story than Democrat bad.
Fine. That's not what I'm saying.
Sorry, don't like Democrat.
No, just can't be satisfied, must be stopped. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but I mean, he's another one. Like I said, I'm just going through it. I've just been plucking out these just verified Twitter users, seemingly all saying the same thing. This is a great one, by the way. I love how, man, that Tulsi Gabbard, she's so evil that David Duke and Steve Bannon endorse her. Even though she has literally no control over that and people can endorse someone they don't want to smear, but that gets brought up against her. Anyone who is Team Hillary will stay in your lane, Yang, says Nathan Schneider, universal healthcare advocate. How about you stay in your lane, boy? Universal healthcare advocate, talking about healthcare in Syria? What the Russian healthcare? What are you talking about, right? Former House candidate. Well, guess who didn't lose her run? I don't know. Here we go. And then we have someone, Austin Peterson, agreeing with you, I guess. Yeah, definitely. Still. I wanted to bring that up because I just thought that was a really interesting story. The fact that Hillary said what she said about Tulsi, that's crazy enough. The fact that there seems to be this weird divide where there's some people, like I said, I couldn't understand who would hear that and not kind of go like, well, that's weird. Why would Hillary say that? Right? Like, who would hear that and go, does she have any evidence? Like Van Jones said.
I know exactly why.
If you have receipts, show us receipts. What are you talking about? Well, yeah. It's because Hillary has been beefing with Tulsi Gabbard for 3 years. Since Tulsi Gabbard dropped out of Tulsi Gabbard, think about this. Tulsi Gabbard was a I can go back and pull articles, rising star in the Democratic Party. This article references her as the first Hindu elected to the Capitol Hill, 34 years old, one of the youngest members of Congress, and vice chair of the DNC. And that rising star dropped out of the party, but stepped back to spite Hillary. Hillary never forgot.
Yeah.
And you know who never forgot too? Tulsi never forgot. 2016, when the evidence came out that the election was basically rigged for Hillary on the primary end of it, Tulsi came out again and said, we have to change laws.
Yeah, exactly. So before you say that I'm just saying DNC bad, read Tulsi's quote. She literally says the rot of corruption that has plagued the She's waxing more poetic than I am on this, dog.
Well, it's because she's speaking about specifics. She's speaking about Hillary Clinton and her warmongering.
Yeah, I'll talk
corruption.
specifics too. Well, you want to talk about Hillary Clinton's corruption? You want to talk about the chicanery of Tom Perez? You want to talk about the lies of the Emanuels? I don't care about that.
What I'm saying is what we're seeing here with Hillary Clinton today is we're seeing a beef that goes back 3 years. We're seeing Hillary Clinton lying on Tulsi Gabbard because she's mad that this former
who's gonna win?
Rising star in the Democratic Party turned around and said, Hillary, I don't care. I don't care if I have to play ball with you to make it in this party. If that's what it takes, I'm not going to do it. And so far, the gamble worked for Tulsi because Tulsi is still a player in the Democratic Party officially, and Hillary's sitting at home doing book tours. But it's just, this is what we're seeing here. And it's
so what's it all mean, Cody? What's it all mean?
What it means is when you read people saying things like this, I don't have them pulled up right now from the Yang tweet, but when you're seeing these verified Twitter users jump into an Andrew Yang tweet, basically to disagree with him over and over again, where it's like nobody provided any evidence. Let's look at this one. Josh Marshall. No, she's a crank and a gaslighter and generally awful. Nope, this ain't it, Andrew. Yvette Nicole Brown. Greg Lear, if you're not going to keep track of the threats to our country, please drop out. I'm like, what is this response to Andrew? Basically just saying, hey, maybe Tulsi Gabbard has earned enough where if you're going to accuse her of treason, you should provide evidence. Maybe she's earned that low bar of respect where you should provide evidence when you accuse a current active service member of treason. Maybe you should just pretend like, maybe we'll give her the benefit of the doubt for 10 seconds. But when you see this knee-jerk reaction, this is a beef between Hillary and Tulsi that goes back 3 years. Tulsi references it herself in her tweet where she says, where does she say it? From the day I announced my candidacy, there's been a concerted campaign to destroy my reputation. We wonder who was behind it and why. Now we know it was always you through your proxies and powerful allies in the corporate media and war machine, afraid of the threat I pose. Is she just talking about crazy conspiracy theories? Or do we have a bunch of people who, got to be honest, I'm going to do a little bit of an editorialization here, probably were Hillary fans, all coming out against Andrew Yang because Andrew Yang had the gall to say, hey, Tulsi Gabbard deserves much more respect and thanks because she literally just got back from serving a country abroad. That's the bigger picture. The bigger picture here is this is what happens when you see there is still the Hillary camp in the DNC. Tulsi literally references them and calls them out in her own tweets against Hillary Clinton. She says, you've been using your proxies and your allies in the corporate media and war machine because you're afraid of the threat I pose. Again, they've been beefing a long time, and this is the result of it. We now have Hillary Clinton with no evidence suggesting that somebody,
Hillary Clinton
Tulsi
suggesting
Gabbard
with no evidence,
is responsible or is being. And again, and one more time, just very before we put a little bow on this. Tulsi, unfortunately, was forced to come out and once again assert she will not be running as an independent or a third party at the behest of the Russians. She's a Democrat running as a Democrat. So just want to make sure that's also in here again.
All right. So I don't know what to say. Disheartening at best. Pathetic at worst. I know, evil at worst. Pathetic is in the middle somewhere.
It's petty.
Anyway.
It's petty.
Petty somewhere.
Hillary can't get over the fact that Tulsi, this rising star, this first Hindu woman elected to Congress,
people
one of the
idolize
youngest
her.
people in the party, spiting her and saying, Hillary, your warmongering does not belong in this party.
Hey.
And Hillary never overlooked that, and we see it today.
Yeah. Anyway, let us know what you guys think. Comment below. Please like and share this video if you haven't yet. If you want to contribute to the channel, you can go to the PayPal link in the description or pick up a hat at Problem Solver Politics. And no matter what you do, make sure you drop us a sub on Twitch and hang out with us on Tuesdays and Thursdays where we answer your voicemails. Speaking of which, you can always call us and leave us a voicemail at 1-833-PSP-RADIO. Please keep it less than 30 seconds. This is Problem Solver Politics. We will see you in the next video.